here and thumb your nose at the board? Not on my watch! You both are trespassing, and I will have you out before the day's over. Do you hear me? I am recording every bit of this, and you...
She kicked my door clean off its hinges, while I was sitting 3 feet away from the woman who could send her to federal prison. Not knocked. Not pounded, kicked, designer heels, splintered wood, live streaming to her 3,000 followers. I am Marcus Henley. 52 years old, 30 years installing power grids across 3 counties. When I finally retired, I had one dream. My grandfather's fishing cabin on Clearwater Lake, 2 acres pop, bought in 1963 for $800. Hand-hewn logs, a stone fireplace, solar panels humming on the roof. This was my finish line. Then Delila Cromwell arrived and decided my finish line was in her way. Drop a comment and tell me what state you are watching from. I guarantee half of you have a Karen in your neighborhood right now. Delila rolled in with a pearl white Escalade, vanity plates reading Rule 1, and an HOA badge she wore like a sheriff's star. Within 2 months, 3 elderly couples had mysteriously sold their cabins to buyers nobody could name. Her first move against me came on a Tuesday morning. I was drinking coffee watching loons teach their babies to dive when I heard clicking on my dock. Designer heels. 10 minutes later, a violation notice was taped to my screen door. My grandfather's dock, the one Pop and I reinforced when I was 12, was now an eyesore threatening property values. $500 fine. 72 hours to comply. I walked over to explain that my property predates the HOA by 40 years. You know what she said, standing in my own driveway? Everyone on this lake answers to me, sweetie. Ask the Hendersons how well fighting me worked out for them. The Hendersons had lived 2 lots down for 23 years and had mysteriously decided to downsize last month. Pop always said, when someone tries to legal talk you out of your land, go find the actual papers. So I drove to the courthouse. What I found made my hands shake. My grandfather's deed included 50 feet into the lake. That dock sat in the middle of my own property. The HOA was not established until 1998, 35 years after Pop bought this land. That satisfaction lasted until I found Karen's Escalade, parked sideways, blocking my driveway. When I knocked on her window, she rolled it down just enough to say, "Oh, Marcus, I am reviewing parking regulations. This might take a while." The inspections came next. Building inspector, environmental officer, fire marshal, all clearing my property while quietly building a paper trail, making me look like a problem resident. Then fake Facebook posts, warning neighbors to keep children away from my property. Then a restraining order calling me unstable. The judge dismissed it. But my name was now attached to the word threats in a public court document. When I noticed 3 more elderly families had sold below market within weeks of Karen's campaigns, everything clicked. This was not petty neighborhood politics. This was organized theft. My lawyer connected me with the Attorney General's office, already investigating HOA corruption statewide. The county records told the whole story. Karen's HOA had collected $280,000 in emergency assessments for dock repairs never completed. Another $150,000 went to a landscaping company owned by her brother-in-law, incorporated 3 weeks after she became HOA president. Insurance fraud, tax evasion, shell companies. Drive down property values, force out longtime residents, flip the land to developers at massive profit. The trap was simple. Attorney General Patricia Williamson would visit my cabin to review the case. We knew through monitored communications that Karen planned to live-stream herself storming in, calling it an expose on government corruption. She thought she was setting an ambush. She had no idea she was walking into her own. The AG arrived at 9 sharp. We were deep in the evidence when gravel sprayed in my driveway. "This is it, folks," Karen announced to her 3,000 followers. "We are about to expose the corruption targeting our family." The door exploded inward. Karen stormed through with her phone held high, streaming everything. Completely unaware, she had just committed felony breaking and entering in front of the state's top prosecutor. The look on her face when Attorney General Williamson calmly stood and showed her credentials is something I will carry forever. "Mrs. Cromwell," AG said, "you just committed multiple felonies in my presence. And your own phone broadcast every second to 3,000 witnesses." FBI agent stepped through the doorway. "Mrs. Cromwell, You are under arrest for fraud, extortion, witness intimidation, and criminal harassment. Karen, I said, standing from Pop's couch with a smile I had been saving for 6 months, meet the state's attorney general. She has been wanting to discuss your bookkeeping. 3 months later, a federal judge sentenced Delila Cromwell to 3 years in federal prison, $340,000 in restitution, and a lifetime ban from every HOA board in America. Her husband got 18 months for conspiracy. The HOA was dissolved. The Attorney General used our case to pass the Henley Act, requiring all HOAs to file annual independent financial audits with criminal penalties for property harassment schemes. The Hendersons bought a new cabin 2 lots from mine. Mrs. Patterson moved back from Florida and threw a block party that lasted until sunrise. I am sitting on Pop's porch right now watching the sunset. The loons are calling across the water. Pop used to say, Marcus, when someone wants your land real bad, find out why. It is usually worth more than they are telling you. He was right about everything. If you are fighting your own version of this, drop your story in the comments. These neighborhood dictators count on you feeling alone. You are not. If this story hit different, hit that like button.